Today's lesson is A December to Remember in Nuremberg. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
Hi there, I'm Mike. And yes, we're going to be talking about the fabulous German city of Nuremberg. And I think if you're looking for a wonderful fairy tale Christmas experience, you really can't go wrong with Germany. Much of sort of Central Eastern Europe, they really do Christmas right there. And the Christmas markets are absolutely fantastic. Have you ever had the chance to visit Germany or even Nuremberg itself?
No, I've actually never been to Europe before, but I have known a handful of Germans over the years, but I can't recall anybody coming from Nuremberg.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when I hear the word Nuremberg, I can't help but think of the Nazis.
Oh my gosh.
Because they had those big rallies there in Nuremberg, and the city was terribly bombed during World War II. But, of course, we need to be fair. Nuremberg has a lot more to offer than just bad parts of history. And, of course, it's Christmas time, and there are great things to see and do during this time of the year in Nuremberg. So we're going to focus on those things. And I'm sure if you've ever been there before, you realize that it is a really nice city. I need to ask you that question yourself, Mike. Have you been to Nuremberg before?
I have not been to Nuremberg. I was lucky enough to go to Düsseldorf, which is sort of in the northwest of Germany, much more towards Holland, many, many, many years ago. But I've always wanted to go back. I guess the closest I got was Switzerland a number of years ago. So not quite there, but yeah, Christmas in Germany does sound absolutely lovely. So let's find out all about Nuremberg and the Christmas market, should we ever be so lucky to actually go, but we can travel through our wonderful two-day article. Let's get into it. A December to Remember in Nuremberg. Located in southern Germany, Nuremberg is a city that shines especially bright in December. With its medieval architecture covered in snow and the scent of roasted almonds in the air, it becomes a true winter wonderland. Each year, visitors come from around the world to immerse themselves in its charming scenery and enjoy its festive holiday traditions.
大家好，第一部分介绍形容词 medieval， 指中世纪的或是中古时代的。例如 The castle is a fine example of medieval architecture. 这座城堡是中世纪建筑的杰出典范。或者 Alex found a medieval necklace while metal detecting. Alex 在做金属侦测时找到一条中古世纪的项链。下一个看到名词 scent， 意思是香味或是气味。例如 After the rain, the scent of pine trees mixed with the smell of wet soil to create a calming atmosphere. 下雨后，松树的香气与湿润的泥土气味交织在一起，营造出宁静的氛围。再看一个例句 When spring arrived, bees were attracted by the scents of various flowers. 春天到来时，蜜蜂被各种花朵的气味吸引。继续看到片语 immerse oneself in something， 表示沉浸在点点点之中。例如 The student immersed himself in his studies. 那名学生专注于课业上。或是 The artist immersed herself in painting for hours every day. 那名艺术家每天花数小时沉浸在绘画之中。接下来看到名词 scenery， 表示风景、景色。例如 The mountain scenery was breathtaking, with snow-capped peaks and clear blue skies. 山区的风景令人叹为观止，白雪覆盖的山峰配上湛蓝的天空。或是 The train ride offers stunning mountain scenery along the way. 这段火车旅程沿途有令人惊叹的山景。
Okay, so we're talking about Nuremberg. Where exactly is Nuremberg in Germany? Nuremberg is located in southern Germany, and it is a city that shines especially bright in December. Okay, so here we're not talking about it shining literally, or maybe we are because it might have a lot of Christmas lights, but in this particular case, I just think it's very popular. Lots of people go there. Lots of wonderful things are there to see. So it shines especially bright in December. And of course, December is a great time to go there. And guess what, everybody? It's December right now, and we've still got about a week before Christmas, so you still have some time to book some tickets to fly to Nuremberg and celebrate Christmas there with the Germans.
That would be absolutely wonderful. And what would you see if you were able to go there? Or what can you see in the lovely pictures in the magazine? With its medieval architecture covered in snow and the scent of roasted almonds in the air, it becomes a true winter wonderland. Oh, already I'm half there. So it has medieval architecture. This, of course, is in Nuremberg all year round. It doesn't just happen during the Christmas season because we're talking about the buildings, the design of the buildings. That's what architecture is. It's about building design, not so much the engineering, the bricks and stones and steel that goes into the building, but how the building looks, the shape of the building, the outer part of the building that we would see, as well as, the rooms inside and the placement of all that kind of stuff, the design of the building. And the design of the buildings there is old-fashioned, medieval, Middle Ages. We're kind of talking about the 1200s, the 1300s, 1500s, the time of castles and knights and riding around on horses and people fighting with swords and all that kind of good stuff that we find in many European cities, of course. And that's actually nice to know. As Roger mentioned, Nuremberg was bombed during World War II by the British and Americans, but it is nice to know that some of the old city there did survive, was not destroyed during the war, so we can still, even now, enjoy these wonderful buildings, many of which are 500, 600, 700, 800 years old, so we can go there. And they would look even nicer now because they're covered in snow, kind of like a gingerbread house with the snow there in place of the sugar, obviously. But yes, covered in snow, looking very beautiful, very much like a postcard, like a picture, like a fairy tale. And what's that you smell? It's the scent of roasted almonds in the air. Interesting. Roasted chestnuts is the smell that I might associate. But roasted almonds sound just as good, if not better. And we were smelling them, and we know that because we described the scent of something. The scent of something is the smell of something. I love the scent of your perfume. From the scents coming from the kitchen, I guessed that we were having beef stew for dinner. From the smells, it's just kind of a nicer way of saying smells of something, or how something smells is its scent. So it becomes, with all of these things together and so much more, a true winter wonderland. And a wonderland is kind of like, yes, what you might see in a fairy tale book, in a picture, in a movie, when they're kind of making it look perfect and wonderful and very, very appealing to all sorts of people.
Each year, visitors come from around the world to immerse themselves in its charming scenery and enjoy its festive holiday traditions. So this is the place to be in Europe during the winter. I think there are other places in Europe you can go to as well, but this is a very special place. Visitors come there from around the world. They come from Japan and China and other parts of the world, Africa or whatever, the Americas or whatever. They all go to this place because they want to experience that Christmas wonderland. They want to immerse themselves in the charming scenery there. So if you immerse yourself in something, that means you surround yourself with these things to kind of feel the atmosphere or get into the mood of the particular place. So yeah, you want to immerse yourself in the charming scenery there, again with the medieval architecture there and the snow on the roofs and the smell of the almonds and things like that. It's got this charming scenery. Scenery, of course, is just the general appearance of a place. This is a non-count noun, so don't say sceneries. We don't have that word in English. You want to enjoy the scenery there. And you also want to enjoy the festive holiday traditions. Festive just means people are celebrating. It's got that sort of feeling, the feeling of a festival, the feeling of a celebration. So yes, it's very exciting, very 热闹, perhaps, as you would say it in Chinese. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. Here comes the second part.
The highlight of any December visit is the famous Christkindlesmarkt, which is held in the city's main square. This Christmas market has been a holiday tradition for over 400 years and is the largest in Germany. Rows of stalls line the square, selling wooden toys, colorful Christmas decorations, and delicious treats like gingerbread and steaming mugs of mulled wine. At the heart of it all is the Christkind, a golden-robed figure who opens the market each year and makes special appearances throughout the season.
第二部分介绍名词 stall 指摊位，例如 Philip runs a jewelry stall at the night market that attracts lots of customers. Philip 在夜市经营一个首饰摊位， 吸引许多顾客。或是 Mr. Bowman brought some flowers for his wife from a stall at the street market. Bowman 先生在街头市集的一个摊位上买了一些花给他太太。
All right, we are back. So we're finding out about a December to remember in Nuremberg. We've kind of painted or set a wonderful scene, this winter wonderland, the scent of the almonds roasting in the air, and of course the beautiful old medieval buildings all around us. So let's get into the actual events and activities that we would experience there at this time of year. And we'll start with the best. It says the highlight of any December visit is the famous Christkindlesmarkt, which is held in the city's main square. So that's the highlight. That's the best thing about it. They would have other things in other areas of the town, but if you really want to find where the action is, go to the town center where this is to be found, and that's the highlight. That's one of the best things about it, or the best thing about it. It's the Christkindlesmarkt, and it is held, or it is located, in the city's main square. A lot of these old medieval towns, they did kind of have a main square, and around that you'll have buildings. There'll probably be a church on one part of the main square, maybe a market hall on the other side where people for hundreds of years have bought and sold fruit and vegetables and other goods. So the main square is kind of the center part of the old town. And it says this Christmas market has been a holiday tradition for over 400 years and is the largest in Germany. Good golly. So a very long time it's been around, showing the age of the town itself. I'm sure they even had other markets in there going even beyond 400 years, but this Christmas market specifically, maybe even with the same name, has been there for that long. And it is also the largest in Germany, which is quite impressive when you think that Nuremberg is by far from the largest town in Germany or city in Germany. There's much bigger places, but this is the biggest one, so that is definitely worth calling it a highlight.
And rows of stalls line the square selling wooden toys, colorful Christmas decorations, and delicious treats like gingerbread and steaming mugs of mulled wine. Okay, so here, these are some things you can check out. First of all, you've got rows of stalls. A stall, of course, is like a small little store or a spot or a place in a market. Of course, we have different kinds of stalls in night markets here in Taiwan. People who are selling different things at these different stalls. You can get different kinds of snacks in a night market. They are all sold at stalls. So here, we've got rows of stalls. There are all sorts of these stalls to check out. They line the square, which means they're all in straight lines around the central part of the city, around the plaza there, the square. And you can buy all sorts of things. People in those stalls sell wooden toys, toys that are made out of wood instead of plastic from factories in China. And also we've got colorful Christmas decorations, which are probably handmade as well. Christmas lights and tinsel and stuff like that. And then you can get delicious treats, things to eat, things to snack on. They will be things like gingerbread and mulled wine. Okay, gingerbread, of course, is a kind of bread made from ginger. It's usually quite dark in color. They probably add a lot of sugar to it because it would be bitter otherwise, but it's kind of cool. I think here in Taiwan they have Christmas activities where the kids make gingerbread houses or gingerbread man or something. And mulled wine, that's a kind of wine that is prepared in a special way, right?
Absolutely. You'll usually warm it and you'll add a little bag of spices to it. So it's actually sometimes also called spiced wine. But basically it's a warm wine drink that is very, very traditional and also very pleasant to drink on a cold winter's night when you're outside, and the spices give it a lovely special flavor and aroma. So you could do that. Maybe not use your best wine for this. Maybe buy a cheaper bottle since you will be heating it up and changing the flavor of it. But it can definitely be very satisfying along with some gingerbread or other Christmas treats. It says, at the heart of it all is the Christkind, a golden-robed figure who opens the market each year and makes special appearances throughout the season. So Christkind, kind, of course, is child, so the Christ child. Apparently it's a person. I thought it would be kind of a statue or something like that, or a figure in kind of a display, but this seems to be an actual young person who is a golden-robed figure, someone wearing golden robes, and they open the market each year and they make special appearances throughout the season. Sort of a bit more of a religious feel to this Christmas market holiday.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Here comes the third part.
For even more Christmas magic, stop by the Kinderweihnacht, a special market area designed for children. Here, kids can enjoy old-fashioned rides, bake cookies, and even write letters to Santa. As night falls, the sound of music and the glow of lights give the city an unmistakable holiday charm.
第三部分介绍形容词 old-fashioned， 表示旧式的、过时的或是老派的。我们可以说 Orville prefers old-fashioned methods of communication, like writing letters by hand. Orville 偏好老派的沟通方法，比如手写信。又或者说 The Smith family replaced the old-fashioned furniture with a more modern design. Smith 一家把老式家具换成更现代的设计。后面看到 unmistakable 这个单字，它是形容词，它的意思是非常明显的、独特的，或是不会弄错的。例如 Discoloration around the wound was an unmistakable sign of infection. 伤口周围变色是感染的明确征兆。再看一个例子 Kevin's handwriting was unmistakable on the anonymous note. Kevin 的笔迹在匿名纸条上是蛮明显的。
Okay, so it's time now to talk about the third part of our lesson for today. We're experiencing all kinds of Christmas magic in Nuremberg, but for even more Christmas magic, stop by the Kinderweihnacht, a special market area designed for children. So, of course, Christmas is a time for people to celebrate, but it's also especially nice for children because they get toys and things like that and treats, and they get really excited. So you can check out this particular part of the market called Kinderweihnacht, which is like child Christmas or something like that.
You should be more German. Weihnacht.
I guess that's the way they talk.
There you go.
But in any case here, it's a special market area that is especially for children, and I'm sure parents can go there as well. And grown-ups can go there and have a pretty good time as well, but it is especially for children.
I'm not sure about if it's here, but I've also read about some of these Christmas markets that people go to for the shopping, and the husbands will get bored following their wives around. The children have their play area. So there's like a husband's area where they have beer and football on TV.
Right.
So if you kind of get bored looking at all the cute little Christmas goods and the Christmas baked treats and whatnot, the husbands can kind of go over there and watch football and drink beer.
That's cool.
So they're looking out for everyone, making sure everyone has a good time at Christmas, no matter what you're interested in or what your age might be. But let's get back to those wonderful kids who, of course, get the most joy out of Christmas. It says here in the Kinderweihnacht, here, kids can enjoy old-fashioned rides, bake cookies, and even write letters to Santa. That does sound like fun, because I'm old enough, but not too old, to remember that following Mom around the stores at Christmas is kind of boring, right? As she's doing all of her wonderful shopping for everybody on the list. And I'm like, Mom, I'm tired. Mom, I'm bored. So the kids, they can go off to this area, and there's old-fashioned rides. They probably have carousels, maybe simple little roller coasters or teeter-totters or swings or who knows what. Nothing too fancy and modern, so they won't have like video 3D Spider-Man experience or something, but old-fashioned rides, meaning old-style rides, the rides that their parents and grandparents probably would have enjoyed at this market or at other similar events going back decades. So that's kind of nice to give that old-time feel to it. The kids can bake cookies. I'm sure they have places they can paint or do art and draw and stuff like that, and they can even write letters to Santa, listing out all the good things that they want to get for Christmas and promising Santa that they've been really good this year and they always ate their vegetables and did their homework and stuff. So please, Santa, bring me my toy that I really, really want. And then it says, as night falls, the sound of music and the glow of lights give the city an unmistakable holiday charm. Well, that's a wonderful sentence to end it on. Night is falling. The lights start to get turned on or start to glow even more brightly. There's the sound of music playing. I'm sure there's always this background noise of Christmas carols. And the lights, yes, they give the city an unmistakable holiday charm. If something is unmistakable, you can't mistake it. It is very clear. It is very easy to see, easy to understand, and undeniable. It is absolutely, totally charming when it looks nice at night.
It sounds like the place to be during the Christmas season. Okay, and we're going to talk about it more in our program next time. But right now, we need to hear from Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny， 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第二部分有一句写到 At the heart of it all is the Christkind, a golden robe figure... 那他说整个事迹的核心是圣婴 Christkind， 那这位身披金袍的人物怎么样，而这个句子的结构是地方副词片语加动词加主词，然后主词后面带有修饰语来做补充说明。那这是把地方副词片语移到句首的倒装句，我们来学习这个用法。要强调表示地方的副词或副词片语时，或者是当你的主词带有比较长的修饰语，那就可以把地方副词或地方副词片语移到句首作为强调，后面的主词和动词必须倒装。那以句型来看，直述句的句型原本可能是主词加动词加地方副词或副词片语，倒装之后会变成地方副词或副词片语加动词加主词，而句型里面的动词常用 be 动词，或者是用到 come, go, sit, lie, stand, live 等等表示位置或状态的动词。注意 sit、lie 跟 stand 不是表达坐着、躺着、站着哦，而是表达位于、坐落于的意思。举例来说 A vase filled with flowers sat on the table。 地方副词片语 on the table 把它移到句首，然后把动词 sat移到主词前面来形成倒装，句子就会变成 On the table sat a vase filled with flowers。 桌上有个装满花朵的花瓶。好，特别注意，当句型当中的主词是代名词，就不用倒装了。例如 Here comes the bus， 公车来了。现在如果把例句里面的 the bus 改成代名词 it， 会写作 Here it comes。 这时候可以看到动词 comes 是维持在主词 it 的后方，并没有倒装。好，另外要介绍的是同位语的用法。同位语通常会摆在名词或名词片语的后面来做补充说明。那同位语在句子里面要用逗号跟句子隔开来，像文中是在 Christkind后面接逗号 a golden robe... 来补充说明。还有看到课文第三部分的第一句，它有提到 Kinderweihnacht 的后面它是接了逗号 a special market area designed for children 来补充说明这个 Kinderweihnacht 是一个专为孩子设计的特别市集区。那这两个例子都是同位语的用法，我们也造个例句。She lives in Seoul, the capital of South Korea. 她住在首尔，那是南韩的首都。这时候 the capital of South Korea 是同位语，用来补充说明它前面的这个名词 Seoul 首尔。好，那以上就是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Medieval. Not only is the book entertaining, but it's also a good source of information about the history of medieval Europe. Architecture.Dihua Street in Taipei is famous for its historic architecture. Scent. When Margaret opened the window above the garden, the scent of fresh flowers filled the room. Scenery. We stopped the car several times during our drive to take photos of the beautiful scenery. Highlight. For many fans, the concert's final song was the highlight of the show. Stall.I bought some fruit this morning from a stall at the farmer's market.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.